Episode 75, Exercise. Do you exist?
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
And we are closing the first complete week of 2021, the less clusterfuckish year than 2020, with the very best podcast in the world, your only source for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness in the multiverse. Whatever. Today's episode is about existence. A few episodes ago, I can't remember which one exactly it was, we talked about existing without negativity. Search for negativity in your search field and you will find the episode. It's the only one that has the word negativity in its title. So, that being said, what makes today's episode different? Well, today's episode is different because it's an exercise, because it's Exercise Friday. And that being said, I do now know how to spell exercise. I didn't in the first one because I do so much exercise, right? Now I know, 12, 15 weeks later. So the question is, do you exist? And, of course, you can go ahead and pinch yourself and say, yeah, sure. You can look down on you and you can say, yeah, I'm here. I'm good. I exist. But do you? That's a very philosophical question. And what I came to notice during all of my journeys was that I found a lot of people who seemingly exist, but they didn't. They didn't have a persona. They were trying to represent themselves through, high-value clothing and high-value articles and high-value watches and high-value cars and high-value lifestyles and high-value spending shitloads of money and, whatever. And when you kind of took them into a more deep conversation, you notice that they stopped at the edge of the shallow water, to be gracious, right? In the terminology. Not to say that they were just completely superficial. They didn't have any substance. They didn't have any depth. They didn't, they hadn't really read a lot of books. They hadn't had a street smart education, as I would say. They had their university degree or degrees or PhD or PhDs or both or all of them, all of the above. Check all of the above. But there was no personality there. They were boring. There was certain shit that you could talk to them about for about 10 minutes, and then you would, kind of have to go buy cigarettes and never come back, that kind of situation. And I came across a lot of those people. And then kind of returning back to normality, when I quit work, it was like, well, the same thing exists in the so-called middle class. It's about having status symbols in your life and trying to satisfy your ego by drawing looks and attention to yourself that are, in essence, meaningless. Because no matter what jerk is going to drive... Let me give you an example, right? I was on a business trip in Germany, in my hometown, and went to a friend's office and drove an Audi A8 as a rental car. I'm not the car person. So, but I know that exists, and I know because it says so in the rental contract. And now, I look a bit weird and different, but the looks I was getting from the chicks as I drove by them were just remarkable. For me, it was like, why are you looking at me? I'm driving a black car. That's it. End of the story. Yeah, it's big. It's very difficult to park, but yeah, but driving through the city, and I wasn't even listening to loud music trying to get attention. It was like the looks you drew were just disgusting. They didn't feel good. It was like I didn't matter. My personality didn't matter. The car mattered. My strange looks paired with the car mattered, but it wasn't about me. It was about the car. It was about my looks, and that was it. Super superficial. And so I then, came the process of, kind of detaching from that, because I felt very uncomfortable and I didn't really want to go down that road. So detachment process engaged. And that's what we're going to be, trying to give you that experience to lead you into true existence. And for that, as always, on Fridays, we're going to need a sheet of paper or two. And now we're going to write down all of the stuff that are valuable earthly possessions to you and you identify with. I know you're going to deny it, that you don't represent it, that you don't represent yourself through your car or your watch or your tailored shirt or whatever. Let me tell you, you do. It's just that you haven't really noticed it. So, write down all of the stuff that's valuable, monetarily. Your car, your phone, your house, perhaps your boat or your plane or your horse or your horses, all material possessions. And you need to be detailed. So we need the model of the car. We need the exact specs of the phone. We need the length of the boat. What type of plane do you have? And what has all of that cost? And you need to be very detailed and to visualize everything accurately and write all of that, all of those details, go apeshit, go full retard, write down all the details, all the specs of the stuff that you own and that are valuable to you. And when you're finished, take your time, go through it, and then take that sheet of paper, go somewhere where you'll be undisturbed, and burn it. And then you truly exist. And that's an experience worthwhile. If you imagine yourself without all of that shit, and you don't need to worry about that, then you truly exist. In that sense, I wish you a good weekend, a successful Friday and a successful Saturday and a successful Sunday, and accordingly, good nights to those days. And we're going to be back on Monday, and we're going to do another interesting episode, the title of which I haven't decided upon. Anything else? Yeah, right. Remember, share this episode with a friend that you need to, detach from materialism, perhaps a bit, and send that episode to them through WhatsApp or whatever. Or, if you found this episode cool or worthwhile, once you've done the exercise, share it to your social media on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever. And if you're in true existence, subscribe to this podcast, because there's tons of good shit in here, and it'll help you keep up to date on the episodes as they come out, Monday through Friday, noon GMT. Any feedback, questions, criticism, or whatever goes to the very best podcast in the world at gmail.com. Have a safe and nice weekend. I'll see you on Monday.